And hello again, boys and girls. Welcome back. Been a while. I know you've missed me. I've missed you. Probably not, but but I have missed playing video games. I have been away on course for quite a while, and so I do apologise for the delay. But I am back, and once we finish our Great War playthrough, we will be moving on to Company of Heroes and just doing some basic streams of that. Company of Heroes 3, I'm by no means an expert, and I suspect I'll be getting clapped quite considerably. But I thought I'd go back to live streaming for a while, because a lot of the time I've been just doing recordings, and so I haven't been able to engage with you boys. I know you have missed me, some of you, and so I thought I'd also be able to interact with some of you fellows. Things are pretty good right now. I should have a long period where I will be able to do some recording. I will be away on holiday next week, Friday till Monday, because it's Easter and it's bank holiday. But I will be back afterwards, and we'll just be continuing our Great War Western Front campaign. Now, I've already talked about in the first video, it has some pros, has some cons, it has some good parts and bad parts. Altogether, I think it's a pretty okay game. It's just held back by its execution of some concepts. Still, I think in terms of trying to recreate the Great War, it does a pretty good job. It does actually a pretty good job at recreating the nature of the Great War in terms of the learning curve. So any military historians out there will know the concept of the learning curve, the idea that at the start of the war, you bring the previous lessons from the previous wars and bring them into your modern war, which often means that technology of the modern war sort of destroys the tactics and doctrine of the lessons you brought with you. This means you now have a learning curve where throughout the next couple of years of fighting, you eventually learn the correct tactics and doctrine to overcome the new technological realities of modern warfare. So in this case, in the First World War, the initial 1914, it was still columns of attack and shock for the French, and for the British in the 1914 infantry regulations, it had some part of it that said that by marching slowly and steadily towards the enemy, it would reduce their morale and reduce the accuracy of their fire. Of course, in reality, that didn't work, and they all got mown down. Also, machine guns were extremely poorly used by the British in the First World War, first using them as companies, and some commanders not using them very well at all, often putting them out in the open or isolated, or just generally not using them very well. Of course, this changes, and now we know how potent machine guns were. In fact, the British did use machine guns as machine gun companies and artillery for a while because they used them for indirect fire. So if you think about the bullet trajectory, of course, if you fire from a long range, a bullet goes straight, then high, then low, meaning that you could fire over terrain, and so you'd have machine gun batteries firing over terrain, which wasn't the most intelligent thing to do. But of course, you've got to remember the types of machine guns that were being used at the start of the war, going from the Vickers machine gun, I think the Shorshot for the French, eventually towards the Lewis gun and the MG08 for the Germans. But I think MG08 for the Germans was quite early on, and then of course you get your bars for the Americans and so on and so forth. Anyway, enough historical discussion. If you do have any questions about history or the Great War, don't hesitate to ask in the comments below. Also, I did get it wrong. Haig wasn't in charge until I think 1916. It was actually John French who was in charge for the British, and then I think after this sort of failed offensives in 1915, he was sort of replaced. In any case, we're doing pretty well. We've stacked up a lot of supplies, we've stacked up a lot of artillery. You can see it's making it a bit easier now to wear down the enemy, but my target now will be to aim towards Brussels. You see we're going to pretty much be winning now unless we do catastrophically badly. And that's one of the big issues with this game, is the fact that after you've won a few key battles, you can just auto-resolve to greatness, whereas you think these sort of missions would perhaps force you to be a bit more aggressive. In any case, let us begin. So you can see here my operation has supplied up, and now I've got 2 artillery batteries which we're going to use to bombard Oudenarde and then eventually Ghent as well, with the plan to sort of take Brussels. And then of course by taking Brussels after, we'll probably just encircle Brussels if I'm honest with you, simply because well, it's 5 stars of pain. Anyway, it's going to be a quote-unquote minor victory. I beg to differ with my 6 heavy artillery batteries, so I think we're going to be pretty healthy. I also do realise I've got to complete the Age of Mythology playthrough, but that's going to be a long one. That's something I'm going to go back to. Something I will return to at a later date. And I do want to get a Vicky 3 campaign on multiplayer going. It's just that I'd probably have to go back to Twitch to do that because, of course, I don't want to get banned on YouTube just in case there's some naughty Vicky boys, and I'm not sure how stable it is. I've heard good rumours that it's quite stable now, but we shall see. Anyway, now we don't have any trenches because, of course, we took new objectives. You can see this terrain is pretty much unmolested because, of course, we haven't fought over this terrain. We've actually achieved the mythological breakthrough that, of course, was the dream of all commanders in the Great War. Unless, of course, you were on the Eastern Front, then you were having a good old time as the Germans and a nightmare for the poor old Russians. But they sort of did it to themselves with Tannenberg. they sort of had a big oof at Tannenberg. But this should mean that hopefully their trenches aren't too stable because their troops won't have had time to dig in. So you know my rule at this stage: mass on one flank with the best troops, with the plan to simply overrun the enemy. Of course, we'll put down some artillery, so we'll put down 2 of our light field guns probably over here, just at the front. Again, not particularly historically realistic, but hey ho. 1, 2, 3. 2 heavy artillery barrages, 1, 2, and another trench line. And then we will put down our pleb infantry along the left. Oh, we're getting a little bit of a choppiness here. See here, a little bit of a chop. Hey ho. That should be enough, and then I'll put more of my crack troops on the right flank. Nice. Still, that artillery should give me a 58% chance to destroy any entrenchments they have. And if they don't have a lot of entrenchments, then I'm going to have a really fun time. Cool gas mask, bro. Yeah, they don't have strong positions at all. That's great. Anyway, let's begin. The boys must move forward. Oh, that's a barrage balloon or an observation balloon.
Take firing positions! Ready yourselves. Ready on the fire step. Attention! Get in position! We have new orders.
Quite a long field to progress through, but I think we'll be fine. I mean, these are the elite troops, so we should be okay.
On the line. Stand by for orders. Take firing positions!
And get ready for our early bombardment.
We have our targets. Ready for fire. Suppression barrage ordered. Fire. Load them up. Suppress at that location. Fire on that position. Set position. Ready. Full start the barrage. Teams ready. Fire all guns.
Maybe a heavy bombardment here as well. Nice work. So far, so good. There should be some balancing patches here, really, because you can probably tell that's pretty easy to suppress with light artillery. Good luck, boys. Nice attempt to counter-attack. Alright, let's withdraw our weakened forces.
We have new orders. Ready on the fire step. Stand by for orders. Full withdraw. Ready yourselves. We're pulling back. Attention. Withdraw. We have new orders. We're withdrawing. We have new orders.
And let's put our elite guys back in.
Stand by for orders.
I suspect I can actually
Ready
blow up the
yourselves.
barrage balloon. Apparently this would be a minor victory. I beg to differ.
We have arrived and await orders. Looks like we're late to the party.
I very much beg to differ. And then these guys running away from the Hindenburg, mini Hindenburg. So our next target will be these trench lines. I don't think it's going to be too bad. We've really sort of broken through the defences, so we should be in a pretty healthy spot now.
Spread out. We have new orders. Get in position. Stand by for orders. Ready on the line. On the line. Ready yourselves. Take firing positions. Attention. Ready on the fire step. We have new orders. Get in position. Load them up. Load for suppressing barrage. On that position. Set positions. Suppression barrage ordered. Teams ready. Suppress at that location. Load for area barrage. Ready for fire orders. Fire. We have new orders. Stand by for orders.
There we go. Although somewhat simplistic, I do enjoy the rapidly increasing use of artillery in that.
We have new orders. Take firing. Load them up. Suppression fire position. Set position. Start the barrage. We have new orders. Ready on the fire step. Stand by for orders. Get in position. Ready yourselves. Ready on the line. Attention. Take firing positions. We have new orders. Ready on the fire step. We have new orders. Position. Teams ready. Light suppression shell. All guns. Stand by for orders. Ready on the line. Ready yourselves. Attention.
But light artillery is OP.
We have new
They maybe need to add a tech to make it a bit less OP. As you can probably tell, it's a bit OP.
check coordinates for barrage targets. Reporting for duty. Stand by for orders. Ready yourselves. Take firing positions. Attention. Ready on the fire step. To surrender. We have new orders. Get in position. Reinforcements reporting.
Again, this was calculated as a minor victory.
We have new orders. Stand by for orders. Everyone, ready
We've all the good guys,
yourselves.
all the wounded guys. We bring out the good ones.
Reinforcements ready. We have new orders. Get moving.
I just love the damage the siege artillery does. I mean, it doesn't look like a lot, but when you're destroying the trench lines, this means there's less cover for the enemy to hold up in, which makes life so much easier.
Arrived and await orders.
The siege artillery on paper looks a bit but actually with persistent use it can just demolish the enemy.
have new orders.
Yay! Command trench. Don't worry, it doesn't mean
Stand by for
anything.
orders. This position is ours.
And then will come swarm. The final position. Wait a second. Okay, I was going to say that looks like a demonetizable symbol.
Ready yourselves. Skirmish formation. We need to hold this position.
Coming from the angle.
Brass wants this piece of ground.
There should be more Great War games, even if it's like a single player RPG or anything like that. I just like the Great War. Great War, there needs to be a game that does the Great War with terrain deformation, and that would be such a pog game.
We hold here.
Ready for fire order. Load for suppressing barrage. Fire. Load them up. Suppression barrage ordered. Fire on that position. Position. Suppress at that location. Start the barrage. Ready. Set for barrage. Fire all guns. Ready, boys. Ready, full barrage. Targets.
Attention. Ready on the line. We have new orders. On the line. We have new orders. Pick your target. Hold this ground. Position. Stand by for orders. Ready on the fire. Steady yourselves. Attention. Get in position.
Nice.
We have new orders.
Ready for fire orders.
We have new orders.
So I'm going to lose one squad, but it's not the end of the world. Let's actually send these squads up now.
We have new orders. Moving on the line.
Load them up. Suppression fire order.
Stand by for orders. Take firing position. Ready yourselves. Ready on the fire step. Attention. Get in position. Reporting for duty. We have new orders.
That's the masses of men. Although I do find the idea of bombing your own troops somewhat distasteful, but hey ho, it is what it is.
We have new orders. This position is ours.
And that we won. And all it took us. Actually, I don't think many troops died on that offensive. Breakthrough!
Stand by for orders.
I don't think the second time around would be as easy though, mind you.
Stand by for orders.
Because the second time around we will probably be dealing with much stronger enemy defences. Yeah.
Up to mighty London came an Irishman one day.
Yeah. Glorious Victoire. Sad that very rarely play as the French, even though it's Allied powers. Very rarely I actually use French troops, which is a bit sad, really. I don't be trying to LARP the attacks in the north rather than actually fighting over Verdun and that.
We hebben nieuwe orders. Wacht op orders.
Of course, we're going again. And they've got battle fatigue, so that means less morale for them. Oh, but it's a different map, so hopefully again they won't have too much dug in reinforcements. Victoire! Glorious Victoire! Oh, cool. This is dug up. Nice. Alright, where's my best troops? So once again, that's the perfunctory bombardment, followed by Canadian infantry, Canadian raiders. Let's have a couple of Canadian raiders. Let's put some Belgians in. Let's help the Belgians reclaim their sovereign soil.
Versterkingen klaar.
Need more trenches here.
We zijn aangekomen en wachten op orders.
There's a few troops on the left.
Reinforcements ready. Arrived and await orders. Reinforcements ready. Reinforcements
There's only a
reporting.
lot of troops on that sector. And then artillery pieces. Light artillery. Oh, I need to put these as close north as possible. A dangerous game, but one I intend to play. Again, don't do that. This is one of the ahistorical lot. Like, you wouldn't do that. It's just, you would not put your artillery in front. It's just not an intelligent thing to do, but whatever. We have one British raider.
Reporting for duty. Looks like we're late to the party.
And a token Frenchman. So what are we dealing with here? They've got some pretty close secondary lines, which I've got to be careful of. Yeah, they're building wider.
New orders incoming. We need to hold this position.
Bereid je voor. Klaar. Opgelet. Wapens in de aanslag. We hebben nieuwe orders. Klaar om te vuren.
On a de nouveaux ordres. On doit tenir cette position. Houd jullie klaar, jongens. Voor zwaar spervuur. Doelwit bepaald om de orders voor zwaar spervuur. Laden maar. Zwaar spervuur op die locatie. Die positie. Jullie posities zijn voor volledig start en spervuur. Rijdt het spervuur voor zijn ene.
Those trench raiders got on quick.
Handen omhoog, jongens. We gaan arrived and await orders.
Houd jullie klaar, jongens. Bevelen voor doelwit bepaald om te vuren. Laat lichte spervuurgranaten. Attendez sur ligne. Als position de tir. Tenez-vous prêt. Préparez-vous sur la banquette de tir. Stand by for orders.
Stand by for orders. Take the trench.
We hebben nieuwe orders.
Nice work.
Attention, on avance.
Get ready.
Move. Get ready. Move.
Ready yourselves. We're moving.
And attempting to counterattack. Good luck with that.
Get moving. We need to hold this position.
And then we're moving again for the next offensive in a second. Take Y. And LSP. 2 more bits and we should be good.
Attention. The brass
Ready
wants
the
this piece of
line.
ground. Away. Laden maar. Laden voor zwaar spervuur. Positie. Posities in. Start het spervuur. Orders voor zwaar spervuur. Jongens, spervuur. De spervuur bepaald. Ready for orders. Set positions.
Wacht op orders. Vuur naar believen.
Oh, I have no machine gun.
Bereid je voor.
I didn't neutralize it. There we go.
Opgelet. Houd jullie klaar.
New orders incoming. Laden maar. Zwaar spervuur op die locatie. Neem jullie posities in. Vuur op die positie.
We have new orders.
Naar de nouveaux ordres.
Stand by for orders.
Now these guys should be throwing grenades, but they don't. So. I find the special troops, like the flamethrower troops and so on, not actually to be that good.
Commandement veut cette position.
Attention! We need to hold this position. Wacht, we moeten deze positie vasthouden. Bereid je voor. De commandant wil dit stuk grond. Opgelet. Hier houden we stand.
On a de nouveaux
On va
ordres.
tenir cette position. Attendez les ordres. Tiens.
Les nouveaux ordres arrivent. On doit tenir cette position.
Stand by for orders.
We hold here.
We hebben nieuwe
Okay,
orders.
retreat
We
the
trekken ons terug.
completely ruined
On
troops.
se replie.
Tenez-vous prêts.
We hebben nieuwe orders.
Crack out more Belgians.
On est arrivé. On attend les ordres.
More Belgians.
Attention, on se replie.
We have new orders. We're withdrawing. Het
On
feestje is
arrive
precies al
après
bezig.
la bataille, on dirait.
Nice work.
Get ready.
And then we've got to take the command trench. This is going to be a bit of a harder nut to crunch on, but shouldn't be too bad.
Attention.
We hold this ground. Dig in, boys. Teams klaar. Bevel voor intens spervuur. Start het spervuur. Klaar, jongens. Richt de spervuurgranaten. Vuur te vuur. Doelwit bepaald. We have new orders. Take fire position. On a de nouveaux ordres. On a de nouveaux ordres. Ready yourselves. Laat maar. Klaar voor spervuur. Neem jullie posities in voor volledig spervuur. Vuur op die positie.
Orders.
Teams klaar dus voor start het spervuur.
Bereid je voor. Klaar om te vuren.
Attendez les ordres sur la banquette de tir.
Ready for orders.
Take the trench. Tenez-vous prêts. Mettez-vous en position. We have arrived. Looks like you're late to the party. Tenez-vous prêts. Houd jullie klaar.
I know there's troops in these positions. Just bomb them.
The orders incoming.
No!
Attention. Take firing positions.
Opgelet. We vertrekken.
A lot of this war is based on logistics, really. Who can crack out the most heavy artillery?
Spervuur bepaald.
I don't know how these craters form, bearing in mind that there's no significant explosions on my end.
We hebben nieuwe
Maybe a
orders.
meteor, perhaps.
Attention. Even sur la ligne.
We hebben nieuwe orders. Posities in.
Yeah, let's bring out some Canadian infantry.
Cette position.
And that just leaves us with our final position to deal with.
We have new orders. Prepare for incoming
But I feel the
fire.
reason why you can be so successful towards the mid-late game is the fact you've got so much supply. So really, supply is such a must in this game. As long as you've got copious amounts of supply, you can just overwhelm the enemy. Ugh, one moment, boys. Okay.
On a de nouveaux ordres.
Let's do it.
Laat maar.
You know the drill.
Intens spervuur.
Attack on your trots.
Vuur op die posities. Klaar. Raad, richten, spervuur. Klaar, jongens. Spervuur. Op de vuren. Doelwit bepaald. De nouveaux ordres, position
I'm not going 5 speed, that's probably why I'm dying so badly.
Ready on the fire step.
Stand by for orders.
Arms up, boys. Orders. Reinforcements reporting.
Op die positie.
Arms up, boys. Wacht op orders. Houd jullie klaar.
Alles voor zwaarstart en spervuur.
Let je voor.
This is more of a brutal fight.
Reinforcements reporting.
Stand by voor orders.
Als jullie klaar zijn, spervuur op die positie.
We hebben nieuwe orders.
Reinforcements reporting. Stand by for orders. Tenez-vous prêt. Préparez-vous sur la banquette matinée. À volonté.
But one we can win pretty well.
We have new orders. Get in position. We have new orders. Niet winnen. Ready yourself. Keep fire in positions. Stand by for orders. Fire well.
That MG position needs to go.
Ready yourself. Ready on the fire. Stand by for orders.
Job done. Job done. Clean sweep, boys! The breakthrough is here. I think it's downhill for the Germans at this point, boys. Now, I'm not the betting kind, but I think we'll be home by Christmas 1917, late 1917. If I can't be bothered to, if I can be bothered to actually fight all the battles. Yay! So where to go for next? Maubeuge or Charleroi? I wonder if I can just demolish Brussels. I don't care. You can stalemate all you want over there. Give me more reinforcements so I can exploit the breakthrough. 6.
We hebben nieuwe orders.
So if I move all of these, over here. Oh no, they've reinforced Brussels now.
Double now. We have new orders. We're moving.
And buy myself even more artillery pieces. Next turn. Easter Rising, that's the rebels. You're gonna attack me with 10 core, eh? At Oudenaarde, from Brussels. Okay, go ahead. You are free to try. I mean, you are free to try. Let me just build up the mother of all defensive lines. Build up some lovely little comms trenches. Hello Aditya, welcome. Welcome to Sitting in a Trench Simulator 2023. I don't need to do a pre-air bombardment, but I do want some light artillery batteries. One, two, three. This is going to be biblically bad for the Germans. Like really bad, as in disgustingly atrocious. Trench raid in the back. Another trench raid in the back here.
Reinforcements reporting.
Renfort au rapport.
And then we'll front load with Belgian troops.
Wat zijn uw orders? Versterkingen melden zich. Versterkingen klaar.
Renfort au rapport.
We zijn aangekomen en
Renfort
wachten
prêt.
op
On
orders.
est arrivé. On attend les ordres.
Het feestje is precies al
Arrive
bezig.
après la bataille, on dirait. Rapport.
Wat zijn uw orders?
And with our 800, yeah, this is not even remotely going to be fair. Yeah, this is after I'm finished here, they're gonna have to make the Hague. You're gonna have to go and get the Geneva Convention to come on in to save this. Come at me, dude. But yeah, I can't rotate the map.
Klaar om te vuren. Laden maar.
Like I could bombard away right now if I wanted.
Get ready.
So these boys, my Canadian Raiders, apparently can throw grenades and that, but very rarely have I seen them do it. Simply because of how the gameplay is, you just get ripped apart if you so much as attempt to do fine tooth micro. Sadly, I didn't upgrade my boys, but hey ho. Now we wait, and we wait, and we wait until the enemy decides. Oh, here we go. I wasn't paying attention. Oh god, they have tanks. Oh god. No one told me they'd have tanks.
Coordinates set for volley. New orders incoming.
Luckily my trench raiders can kill tanks. Yeah, this won't die. No! There's no way we'll just shoot it to death, that'll work.
We've arrived and await orders. Looks like we're late to the party. Reinforcements ready.
And they've got creeping barrage as well. What the hell have you been doing, Germans?
Wacht op orders. Attention, in position.
Jullie klaar, jongens? Orders voor Staatspervuur. Positie. Om te vuren. Op die locatie. Start het spervuur.
Now new orders. Ready on the line. Gaat je voor. Aanbezielen aanslag.
I think we got rid of most of the tanks there, so I'm not too upset as yet. They're using creeping barrage. No! Oh, you're not allowed to use tanks, Germany. That's not historically accurate.
Ieder voorzien. Opgelet. Terugtrekken, iedereen. We have arrived in a way order. Looks like we're late to the party. Looks like we're late to the party.
On a de nouveaux ordres. Préparez-vous sur la ligne.
It was a little scary once the tanks came out. The one thing your raiding troops are good for is destroying enemy tanks.
On the line. Take
Otherwise they're
position.
pretty much useless at most things.
Neem jullie positie voor intenspervuur. Klaar. Doelwitten bepaald. Houd jullie klaar, jongens.
But now I've got to research my own tanks.
Vuur op die positie. Laden maar voor zwaar spervuur. Start het spervuur.
Will I bring up more reinforcements here? No, not really. I can't believe they're actually using creeping barrage. That's so cool. Like, there are parts of this game that really just makes me tingle.
Reporting for duty. Ready yourselves. Attention. Ready on the fire step. We're lost.
Alright, and they're using planes to blow up my... my positions.
On va tenir cette position. Sur la ligne.
Houd jullie klaar, jongens. Vuur, weet dat lokaal. Ziet te vuren. Bevel voor intens spermaar. Vuur op die positie. Neem jullie positie. Laat richten spervuurraten.
That creeping barrage is tasty. It is a beautiful thing.
We have new orders. Attention. Ready on the fire stick.
Teams klaar. Laden voor zwaar. Vuur.
Lost. Reporting for duty.
Klaar, jongens. Orders voor zwaar. Bepaald.
It's too much. Retreat. Reinforcements support. It's too much. Retreat. Reporting for duty. We hebben nieuwe orders.
Time to start shifting the troops along. Because they are breaking through. Quite impressed by that actually.
Four brakes. Get in position. We have new orders. Back to the rear.
Quite effectively I might add. They are doing a very good job.
We have new orders. Spread out. Get in position.
Neem jullie posities. Bevel voor intens spervuur. Die posities. Laat richten spervuurraten.
Attention. Ready for the fire step. Spread out.
Tenez vous prêt. En position de tir. Houd jullie klaar, jongens. Zwaar spervuur. Vuur. Orders voor zwaar spervuur. Dat bepaald.
Back to the rear. On a de nouveaux sur la ligne. Reinforcements reported.
Laden maar.
Stop bombing me.
Locatie.
I'm going to siege bomb it. I'm getting fed up of getting bombed myself.
Start het spervuur. Laat richten spervuur, jongens.
We have new orders. Wacht op orders. Attendez les ordres. On se replie.
Préparez-vous sur la banquette de tir.
Parkour, parkour.
Laden maar. Orders voor zwaar spervuur. Neem jullie posities in. Teams klaar. Zwaar spervuur op die positie. Klaar, jongens. Start het spervuur.
Attendez les ordres. En position de tir.
This is quite a challenge. Like I'm starting to feel the pressure somewhat, especially because they start breaking through on that left side.
Reinforcements ready.
de nouveaux
Send the
ordres.
Belgians to save us. Surely they gotta be running out of supply as well. They can't just keep going on like that.
We have new orders. Get in position.
Attention.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Teams klaar. Laden voor zwaar speelpositie. We have new orders on the line.
We have to start redirecting troops over here.
On a de nouveaux ordres. Cette position est à nous. Repliez-vous. Your force is too much. Retreat. Save yourselves. Reinforcements executing. Stand by for orders.
Yeah, the losses are staggering. How on earth are they able to kill this many troops?
On se replie.
Just love. Love of the Kaiser.
Encore prêt. Attendez les ordres. On doit tenir cette position. Attention. Tout le monde, retraite.
Renforcez. On a de nouveaux ordres.
Tenez-vous prêts. Préparez-vous sur la ligne. Attention. Ready yourselves. On the line.
Attendez les
Mettez-vous en
ordres.
position.
Attendez les ordres. Préparez-vous à tirer.
I can't really use any more of my supply. Those tanks were a unpleasant surprise. Looks like I'm gonna have to research my own tanks. But I think they've more or less given up the ghost now.
We have new orders. We're withdrawing. Tenez-vous prêts. Préparez-vous sur la ligne.
On a de nouveaux ordres. Sur la ligne.
Sure wish I'd researched barbed wire. Buy the cheapy Finchies now.
On est arrivé. On attend les ordres.
Line status secure. Damn straight. I mean, look at the losses compared to us. I don't know how many troops they threw out on that. Oh no, minus 500. Yeah, they got to be attacking anytime soon then. They lost
Mighty London came
16,000 men. 3 tanks.
sure everyone was gay, singing songs of Piccadilly's friend and Leicester
Wow.
Square, till Paddy.
Okay, we have a problem being that we don't have any tanks. So the next hard research will be going trench reinforcement, bunkers, and then this one. And then we're going to go get our tanks. Sadly, I don't have any ammunition or supply at the moment to actually continue offensive action. The Battle of the Somme begins. Allies agreed on joint offensives to press the central powers from all directions. Britain, France, Russia and Italy would all attack at the same time in different locations. But the Britain and France location was the Somme. More than 3 million men fought in the conflict. The Allies retook 6 miles of ground from Germany at the cost of 1/3 of the people who fought there. Well, and ahistorically, we're not actually going to be fighting in the Somme right now. We are literally going to do nothing. What resolve it? I don't need. Give me money. Give me money. I think I might be able to squeeze out one more offensive. Yeah, we'll be able to squeeze out another offensive now. We're almost at our tanks, and that will really just change the game into my favour. So the next push is Maubeuge, I believe. Or should we do a limited offensive for Charleroi? I wonder if I cut here and cut here whether that will act as an encircle position or whether or not I have to encircle the tiles completely. So I don't want to attack this position 3 times. Let's buy more artillery for this. We're almost at bunkers. Alright, here we go. 6 here, 6 here. We'll begin the attack on Maubeuge. As long as I don't call in any tanks, I'm a happy camper. Originally part of the Spanish Netherlands before eventually becoming French territory in 1678. As a border region, it was fortified several times throughout history. Cool. Cool story, bro. You know what I like to do? 12 days of nothing but incessant bombardment. That is not a nice artillery position. So I can't put my artillery where I need them to be. Good enough. Crack out the trench raiders.
Reinforcements ready. Renfort prêt.
Reinforcements ready.
Reinforcements ready.
Reinforcements ready.
We have arrived and
We've
await
arrived and
orders.
await orders. Reinforcements reporting.
I need cheapies.
Renfort au rapport. Renfort prêt.
On dirait qu'on arrive après la bataille.
Renfort prêt.
attend les ordres.
Paco, Paco.
On est arrivé.
On
On
arrive
attend
après
les
la
ordres.
bataille, on dirait.
On attend les ordres.
Renfort au rapport.
Let's do it.
Ready for orders. This position is ours. Take positions.
Houd jullie klaar, jongens. Orders voor zwaar spervuur. Start het spervuur. Om te zwaar spervuur op die locatie. Laden maar. Vel voor doelwit bepaald. Neem jullie posities in. De spervuurcoördinator. Teams klaar voor spervuur. Die positie.
The orders incoming. Stand by for orders. Packet targets. Ready yourselves. All right.
God, those tanks.
On a de nouveaux ordres. En position de tir. On a de nouveaux ordres. Préparez-vous sur la banquette de tir.
We surrender. Stand by for orders. Get ready. Prime for throw. We have new orders.
Spervuurcoördinator.
We surrender. We have new orders. Stand by for orders. Get in position.
Blow it up. Thank you.
We've arrived and the forces are ready to the party. Attention. We have new orders.
Klaar om te vuren. Alle zwaar spervuur.
Ready yourself. Ready on the line.
Bereid je voor. Neem jullie posities in.
Stand by for orders. Ready on the line. Reporting for duty. We need to hold this position.
Klaar voor volledig spervuur. Doelwitten bepaald. Neem jullie posities in.
Attention. Pick your targets. Ready for orders. Action, men.
Those tanks really are nightmare inducing.
The orders
I'm gonna
incoming.
keep these trench raiders back, just in case.
Get moving. Looks like we're late to the party.
Opgelet. Volledige terugtrekking.
Attendez ordres.
Start calling some of the boys back.
Repliez-vous.
Confort au rapport.
And then we need to go for Y.
Get ready. We need to hold this position. The brass wants this piece of ground. We hold here. We hold this ground.
Teams klaar.
If there's a trench, there's obviously going to be someone in it, so
Vuur op die positie.
goodbye, you guys.
Start het spervuur.
Tenez-vous prêts. Feu à volonté.
Ready yourselves.
Tenez-vous prêts. Mettez-vous en position.
Attention. Take firing positions. We need to go. Ready for orders. This position is ours.
Oh wow, there's no one in the trenches. Oh, actually, there was one guy in the trenches.
Reinforcements reporting. We have new orders. Position. Attention. On marche. Position. Stand by for orders. We're withdrawing.
Give me more Belgians. Feed me Belgians.
Versterkingen klaar.
Attention. Fire at will. Ready yourselves. The brass wants this piece of ground. Attention! Scatter for
We
combat.
hebben nieuwe orders. Verspreiden! Houd jullie klaar.
Laat maar. Bevel voor intens pervuur. Alle geschützeenheden. Neem jullie positie.
If there's a trench, there's going to be someone in it.
Doelwitten bepaald. Klaren voor zwaar spervuur. Vuur. Houd jullie klaar, jongens. Voor zwaar spervuur. Die positie.
We have new orders. Now new orders. Fire position. We have new orders. Firing positions. We have new orders.
Klaar om te vuren. Starten spervuur. Laden maar. Laden voor spervuur op zone.
Stand by for orders. Down the line.
Mettez-vous en position.
Neem jullie posities. Alle geschützeenheden. Klaar weer de spervuurcoördinaten.
New orders. Ready on the fire step.
We hebben nieuwe orders. Opschieten.
Ready yourselves. Arms up, boys. We have arrived and await orders. Attention! Sur le lit! Attention! Arms up, boys! We have arrived and await orders.
Nou, de nouveaux ordres.
Nice. See, a lot of people say there's no point using the siege artillery to destroy the positions, but the reason you want to use that siege artillery is because there's less firing positions, thus less less places you've got to bombard with artillery. So that's why I use siege artillery, because you got to think that's 2 or 3 less firing positions for the AI to use.
Attention! Move out! We have new orders! Spread out! We need to hold this position! We have new orders! The brass wants this piece of ground. Spread out!
Again, you'd think if you took the command trench, you'd win the map. So I think again they need to change that so make the command trench more valuable than what it is.
Stand by for orders! Ready on the fire step!
Somehow that damaged my morale. I don't know
Stand
why.
by for orders! Get in position! Ready yourselves! We need to go!
Houd jullie klaar, jongens. Doelwitten bepaald. Spervuur. Klaar om te vuren. Richte spervuurgranaten. Klaar voor spervuurorder. Vuur op die positie. Positie. Starten spervuur.
Attendez les ordres.
Avec nouveaux ordres! We have new orders! Get in position!
Wacht op orders. On a de nouveaux ordres.
I will admit it's so much harder trying to knock tanks out without trench raiders. I first thought trench raiders were pretty poo, but actually when it comes to countering enemy tanks, they're so very useful. Thing is, artillery was normally what knocked out a lot of tanks, but in this game, because artillery is so fast, or tanks are so fast, actually they're not very good.
Attention, on doit y aller.
Up to my
Yay, more supply. I'm just gotta fight again and again over Maubeuge. I could have sort of resolved the way to the finish now. I just want to resolve it now until I get tanks. Or I can find someone else to pick on that's going to be... Oh, major victory.
On a de
Yeah, so they're pretty much busted now. I can just attack across the entire line and this is not going to be a problem. Okay, I'm out of supply. End my turn. I think the eye has nothing left. Keep the pressure up now, really. Yeah, they're pretty much busted. There's no hope for them anymore. But I've run out of supplies, so... Like I've got to stop pushing because I just don't have enough supplies.
Stand by for orders. Ready yourselves.
Yeah, I gotta stop. Anyway, time to start showing you for perhaps for the final battle how OP tanks are.
Awaiting new orders. Stand by. Give us some steam. Orders incoming. Forward. Ready for orders. Head to that position.
Yeah, Zimmerman telegram, don't worry about it. Now,
Ready.
I'll show you what a fully operational tank battalion looks like. Spoilers, it is painful. So tanks pretty much change the game completely into pretty much garbage. It becomes a bit of a meme towards the end. So historically, tanks had limited success because of how slow they were. And although initially they had massive morale impacts, it wasn't really towards the end of the war like they started to be improved enough to be effective. And even then, also with the amount of failure rate a lot of these tanks had, it often did not translate into successful gains. So a good example is the Nivelle offensive. that's a good example of when tanks don't do a particularly good job. And the SOM as well. I think tanks were using the SOM, but again, they all broke down before they could actually do anything valuable. Of course, that's not to say tanks were useless. They still were extremely effective once they could get to the front line, but the issue was they were so primitive, and in terms of how many tanks you need to initially deploy to actually get enough to be useful in the field was the big issue. Also, tanks tended to, how do I put it, become sort of beacons to get blown up by enemy artillery
Tank reinforcements
because of how slow they went.
Reinforcements reporting. We've arrived.
And sadly, the game does not translate
All the reinforcements ready. Tank company
the failure rates into gameplay.
reinforcements ready.
Reinforcements ready. We have arrived and await orders. Looks like we're late to the party. Reporting for duty.
Reporting for duty.
Reporting for duty.
Reinforcements reporting.
Reporting for duty.
So without further ado, let's show you what a tank can do. Let's see. Let me show you what tanks can do. It's pretty rough. It just destroys the game.
Awaiting new orders.
Without any else supporting artillery apart from the siege artillery. Oh, watch that! You're shooting at the tanks. Oh! Looks like you just had a chain route.
Here we go.
Are you shooting at me, tanks? Oh no! Bad mistake, boys. It's disgusting.
Ready for orders.
They should have like random chance of failure, like with every X amount of movement, because tanks are a lot slower, and second, to mass tanks like this would take a very long time, and they were prone to breaking down, getting stuck in mud, getting stuck in trenches. So every single time a tank crushes a trench, should be a chance for it to get stuck in a trench or something like that, or every single time it goes through muddy terrain, there's a chance of getting bogged down and paralysed, something like that. Instead of what we currently have, which is your tanks are death, bringer of worlds.
Ready. Here we
And the only thing that even remotely scares them is trench raiders.
Awaiting new orders. Give us some steam. Forward.
Oh no, an enemy tank, oh no. Oh, what a shame. What was that anyway, like a black thing?
We have new orders. We have new orders. Take firing positions.
Orders incoming. We're moving out.
Stand by for orders. Ready on the fire step. Ready yourselves. Behold here. Attention. Behold this ground.
Ready for orders. Here we go. Ready. Give us some steam. Awaiting new orders. Forward. Stand by. Head to that position.
Yeah, we don't worry about tanks around here. Once you get tanks, like tanks need nerf. Tanks need nerf.
Ready for orders. Here we go.
I mean, I do like the transition from
This position is
artillery
ours.
to tanks. I just
We
don't
have
like
new orders.
how
Moving. We have
effective
new
tanks are.
orders.
Ready. Give us some steam.
And perhaps they need to be more expensive as well.
Awaiting new orders. Forward.
Game literally become Blitzkrieg. World War One Blitzkrieg simulator. I guess we must have fought over this, or I must have auto-resolved this quite a while because you can see the amount of dead trenches in that. So I think the more you auto-resolve or quote-unquote fight over an area, the more dead ground you get, and the more muddy terrain.
Stand by for orders. We need to hold this position.
Stand by. Head to that position. We're moving out.
Speedy tanks. Yeah.
Orders incoming. Ready for orders. Target is set. Here we go. Ready. Give us some steam.
Oh, but eyesight's not very well good.
Orders. Forward.
You can take pretty much no losses with tanks. This tank's just OP. They either need to be like they need to take damage to like artillery a bit more, like. But it's sort of the late game. This is just broken. It's just broken. It is what it is, but it's just broken.
Stand by. Head to that position. Orders incoming. We're moving out. Ready for orders. Here we go.
Ready yourselves. On the double now.
So I take on a 30. He takes on 1,100. Yeah. The late game isn't balanced. Then the auto resolve doesn't take into account the complete lack of balance. I can just win this part of resolve now. I don't actually have to do anything anymore. Must be stalemate.
Tenez-vous prêts.
And that
Finally,
is the end of the game.
fell silent on the Western Front. The German offensive had collapsed under the weight of its own ambition. And the
So you can see the bugs or the issues of the game get exaggerated towards the end of the gameplay loop, where you can just auto resolve, and the issues I did bring up were more and more apparent as the game went on. You can see at the late game is not particularly balanced, and of course the end is also very meh in terms of actual gameplay evolution. Although it does go through the learning curve pretty well, and the gameplay does somewhat change from the slight successes to the great successes of the sort of later period. The late game technology is very unbalanced, and it really does struggle to sort of stay meaningful to gameplay or enjoyable because of how easy it is. How easy it is. Still, it's still an enjoyable game because it's unique. It's very rough around the edges, but it's unique, and that's what I like about the game. The fact is, it's a pity that it's not early access, because of course then they can of course improve things, and there's an onus upon them to improve it. But I hope they stick with the game and try and adjust and add changes and improvements. But it's enjoyable because it's unique. It's not a perfect game. It's not going to be an RTS game that keeps you really occupied with how intelligent the design is. And you can see what the developers have tried to do, but the big failing point is that the execution, the gamifying of the game, especially the late game, while still trying to be somewhat historic accurate, is just thrown out the window, which is a shame, really. I enjoyed it. I'd say it's about a solid 7 out of 10. But of course, it could be better. I just hope that this in future inspires more developers to do more Great War RTS games, more Great War FPS games, more Great War sort of building management, sort of where you build trenches and that sort of thing, and more of that sort of stuff. Because Great War has got a lot of concepts that could be really enjoyable and pretty intelligent to implement into gameplay loops. But I think a lot of developers are scared off by the speed of it and the repetition of the front line and so on and so forth. I did see a couple of games like years and years and years ago where they were trying to do like a procedural Great War game where it's on the build up to Verdun. You go around doing missions 3 days before Verdun, and then they do a mass assault, and the damage that was inflicted throughout the war or throughout the 3 days would be procedural. But that never really took off, and I can understand how difficult it is to do procedural terrain deformation as the time goes on. But imagine if a developer could pull that off. If they could make a map that had procedural craters that got worse and worse, mines, explosions, gas. Imagine the type of game that would be. Of course, my dream would be a sort of Great War MMO, which is a bit like Hell Let Loose, where you'd have these massive fronts and you'd have to collect resources and you'd have to go on these mass offensives and build trenches. Of course, I think it would deter a lot of players, because of course a lot of people would be waiting around waiting for the next offensive. But that's why I liked Verdun so much. Verdun had that unique style, that push and pull and that sort of close trench warfare, and that's why I quite like Azonzo as well. Of course, I haven't got around to playing Azonzo in a while, but I do like that there's slowly been a growing creeping up of these Great War games, and I hope in future it inspires more developers to sort of play around with this, because there's a lot that could be done here, especially with the new technology coming out, to make it a really fascinating game, or a really fascinating genre. Still, I quite like it. Like I said, rough around the edges, some glaring failings towards the end, but as RTS games go, it brings something new to the table. It brings something unique, which I like. It also helps that they worked in conjunction with the Imperial War Museum, so I do like that they actually went to the Imperial Museum and tried to learn about the genre. They're doing Battlefield 1, where like tanks go like 20 miles per hour and there's like yeet planes that fly overhead. Yeah, I do like that. I like it. I think these guys did a pretty good job, all things considered. I think it was their first game. So ahead of monetization, this guy was not particularly like. Sorry, Michael Hamilton. sorry, Michael Hamilton. Sorry about that. But there you go. Paid social marketing manager. They really are very creative with the titles. There's some pretty rough titles there. Email marketing, creative developer lead, producer, design lead, principal creative designer. I think you guys did a good job. Developers, you did a pretty good job. I like it. Just needs a few adjustments here and there, especially towards the late game, and with the missions and so on and so forth, to give a reason to actually not meta it up. Still, I like to see what they intend to do. Like on the, I wonder if they will do a Ottoman campaign. I wonder if they'll do a Eastern Front campaign, or an Italian campaign. That would be called the Italian campaign with verticality. And perhaps they'll build off what they've learned in this. But I could see them potentially actually going further back in time, maybe doing sort of the 1870 war, Franco-Prussian War, Brothers' War, because again, that sort of blobbing or that sort of top-down troops size and mass control, I can see that working out very well, a la not Grand Tactician, Ultimate General Civil War. I heard Ultimate General were going to do a Great War of Independence game, but alas, I think because of them being based in Ukraine, they couldn't. Development has sort of stalled a little bit. So it's a pity because I was hoping they would do a Napoleonic one. I'm just waiting for them to do a Napoleonic campaign. God, I wish they'd do a Napoleonic campaign. Ultimate General, give me Ultimate General Napoleon, please. Please, that's all I want. Ultimate General Napoleon. Oh, I'd be such a happy man. Still, Grand Tactician is going to do its lemons and whiskey, or whiskey or lemons. So I'm waiting out for that as well. I'm looking very much forward to that Whiskey and Lemons Grand Tactician DLC. I cannot wait for that to come out. And I can't wait for any more of the Unity Command 2 games to come out. If that comes out, any more of that DLC, God, I love Unity Command 2 as well. I am a fanatic for Unity Command 2. I just can't wait for their Russian campaigns. That will probably be a magnum opus where they just do massive Russian campaigns. I don't think there's a lot of Germany left to do. They've done Barbarossa, they've done the Western Front, they've done D-Day, so the next step, the logical next step, would be the Soviet campaign, probably Bagration. Probably before Bagration, they'll probably split it into two parts. The first part being the encirclement at Stalingrad and Operation Uranus, and then moving forward to the actual sort of final push. But maybe they'll do 3 DLCs, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot left for them to play. Not that many theatres left to do Unity Command 2. It'll be a sad day once I finish all the DLCs for Unity Command 2. I will be a sad, sad boy. Perhaps too sad. Because I love that game. It's a game I always come back to. If I just want to play a casual strategy game, turn-based, and I don't want to think too much, but I still want to have that persistence and that sort of logistics element, I will go straight to Unity Command 2, because you can play for hours and it's just so enjoyable to try and get old history and just the lore, it really just sucks you into what you're doing. But there we go. I think I will probably take down the stream and just upload the video, because you don't want to have 2 playlists of the same thing. But I will put you now on the shelf. Great War General. Well, Great War Western Front. And now I'll move to Unity Command 2. Well, not Unity Command. Company of Heroes 3. I'll play a few games of that. I don't think I'll play that to death because I'm not that competitive. I just do 4 versus 4. And I think that's going to be saturated with your esports sort of boys. And I'm not an esports boy. Good work, guys. Good work. You did what no other developer could be bothered to do, and I'm proud of you for that. So gold reserve spent 54,000, final score 6,250. I don't know if that is good or bad. I was pushing rather effectively. And again, the big problem is because the AI doesn't cheat in terms of resources. As long as I keep getting decisive victories, eventually I'll just bleed to Germans white. 11 siege batteries, yep. 5 tanked battalions, yep. Battles fought 15, not resolved 49, supply conversion 37, tech unlock 28, and no espionage or aircraft. Altogether, a good game. Of course, you got your historical battles. Second Battle of Ypres, so that's the gas, isn't it?
Up to mighty London came an Irishman one day. As the streets are paved with
Yeah.
gold, sure every
Second Battle of Champagne, don't know about that one.
singing songs of Piccadilly, Strand and Leicester Square, till Paddy got excited, then he shouted to them there. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go.
Battle of Verdun, of course, everyone knows the Battle of Verdun.
Long way to Tipperary, to the
And the Somme, of course, everyone knows about the Somme.
goodbye Piccadilly.
Battle of Passchendaele, third Battle of Ypres.
Farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary.
This is when I start using bite and hold tactics. And the Battle of Cantigny, I'm not sure about that.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way.
And of course, you've got your multiplayer. I don't know if multiplayer is alive. No, it is dead. To be expected, really. And of course, your skirmish mode. Cool. Well, that's it, boys. I will see you all perhaps probably tomorrow, and that'll be unique. That'll be Company of Heroes 3. Still, I enjoyed it. Good game. Rough around the edges, but I see what they tried to do. Quite impressed. I will again stick with 7 out of 10. I would recommend it if you're a Great War buff, but if you're just going for pure RTS, perhaps you might want to move elsewhere. But if you want a Great War game, or if you're a Great War buff, give this bad boy a go. Anyway, see you all later, and adieu.